Hi, my name's Don and welcome back to Project Urtle. In this episode we'll assemble the roof. At this point something went wrong with my video and I've only got single frames to show you, but what I did was made a wooden carrier that would hold the extrusion and allow me to clamp it down securely and squarely to make these miter cuts. Next, I forgot to video any of putting these extrusions onto the walls of the camper, and here I'm just doing the finishing touches. I'm drilling and pop riveting in the corner stakes. This is a piece of the pop top roof extrusion. It's the second half of the system, and it runs around the perimeter of the roof, and the foam sandwich panel sits into there, and then once that's glued in, then a piece of angle drops down into there and is glued in on top of it, sealed all the way around, and that completes the system. There are some injection moulded corner stakes, aluminium, which are then inserted into the corners, and these provide a really nice professional looking finish. A lot of Sikaflex to seal at all the joints, and then after insertion I ran some pop rivets into the pre-drilled holes. So after a little bit of clean-up, a really nice finished joint. This is the roof panel, and before I can put that into the pop-top frame, I've got to get some wires through for overhead lights. And when the panels were made, I specified a few conduits. This is one of them, to be run through the panel to where the lights were going to be. Now what I have to do now is to get those wires out of that conduit and down so that they can run down into the body of the camper. And I'm going to do that with this ceiling rose, and I have to drill down through there and meet that conduit so that I can feed the wires up through there. Now you might say, why did you drill a hole all the way through the roof? You only needed to go into that conduit. Well, down through the same rows, I want to bring wires from the solar panels mounted on the other side of this roof to come down the same cable conduit. So that's why I went through there, so I can find it on the other side later. And now I'm going to use a Forstner bit to open that out so that I've got room to wangle cables. Okay, so here we can see that I've managed to intercept the cable conduit. It runs off in that direction. And there's my hole on the outside for bringing the solar power cables down.
The last job to do before I could put the panel into the frame was to feed in the wiring for the ceiling lights. This was straightforward now that all those conduits were in the roof, and easy job. This job wasn't quite so easy. Moving that panel, Adele helped me, and it was right on the limit of strength, and I really appreciated the effort she put into it. But yeah, it was pushing it quite significantly. The frame had been loaded up with Sikaflex before we dropped it in, and I'm just giving it a squish down.
Well, today's job is to fit the solar panels to the roof while it's still down, reasonably easy to get to. The panels that I chose are thin flexible panels. I chose them because I didn't want the weight of a heavy aluminium framed and glass covered solar panel. I don't really need the flexibility per se, but that comes with the territory, and what I've ended up with is a nicely light panel. I think they're 200 watt panels, but I'm not sure. There's a lot of conjecture about what power rating the solar panel will actually produce, and in typical eBay fashion, the descriptions are somewhat vague. The panels aren't finished very well. There's a few rough edges, and I'm rounding the corners a little bit. So I don't slice my hand open when I'm washing the car one day. The panel has a series of these little eyelets around the edge, and I intend to use those as the mechanical means of holding it down, but in order to position them on the roof and to aid in that, I'm going to use this double-sided adhesive. And prior to putting the adhesive tape on, I'm just giving the surface a clean with some denatured alcohol. Just make sure there's no grease there. In order to remove the backing tape from the adhesive strip, what I do is peel back a little bit of it and then tape it to the other side. That gives me a little piece of point of tackiness, allows me to position it on the roof, and then I can grab a hold of this tape and slide it out. I'm about right. You about right? Yeah. Okay, just lower it slowly, slowly. Still happy? Yeah. Okay.
Now that it's in position, it's just simply a matter of grabbing those tails that I previously taped in place and pulling out the backing and pressing the adhesive down into place. Now for the mechanical fastening. Small hole drilled for piloting the screw. A dab of Sikaflex into the grommet hole to make sure that it seals where the screw goes in. Then a nice stainless steel washer and screw to complete the deal.
Okay, I've just added a little piece of conduit duct thing along the edge of the solar panels. I'll bring you in closer and let you have a closer look. So this is going to take the cables from each of the solar panels, the 3 panels, and loop them all up so that the 3 panels are running in parallel with each other. The solar controller and DC to DC charger system that I've got can't handle the 3 of them in series. It would bring the voltage up too high. So I'm running them in parallel, which should be okay. And I'm about to start lacing up the cables. These panels came with these Anderson connectors on them, which I'm not going to use. They're just going to disappear. It's in the middle of winter and the ice cream man's coming down the road playing green sleeves. Don't you just love it? Okay, so what I've done is brought the wire from panel number 1 down to where panel number 2 enters the duct, and I spliced panel number 1's positive wire into panel number 2's positive wire at that point. I'll slip some heat shrink tube over this now and then carry on down the line.
So that completes the assembly of the roof structure, and in the next episode I'll get Adrian back around to give me a hand, and we'll try and get this roof on top of the camper, which should be fun. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.